So I'm having to do this in multiple parts. I don't know why I can't get longer than half an hour, but we're not going to get into that. So the part where we left off was the Big Bang Theory. Okay, that's one of the first things that we are going to be explaining. Actually, the third things, one of the three things we're going to be explaining is what I meant to say. The Big Bang Theory, I know most people know what the Big Bang Theory is and what the thought process is for that, but I'm still going to go over it more in parts, okay? Big Bang Theory is the prevailing cosmological model scientists use as the explanation of the beginning and the existence of the currently observable universe from the earliest scientifically studied known periods through its subsequent large-scale evolution. The model describes how the universe expanded from an initial state of high density and temperature and offers a comprehensive explanation for a broad range of observed phenomena, including the abundance of light elements, the CMB, cosmic microwave background, radiation, and large-scale structure. So they have a timeline, okay, that they developed explaining the events of the Big Bang Theory. Now, most of it coincides with the Bible, except for the fact that they don't include a source. Okay? No matter what you think about Christianity and the belief in God, you cannot deny that there's a source for the beginning. There has to be. It doesn't make any sense. Okay? Spontaneous existence. I can't say spontaneous creation because creation implies a creator, right? And so if they are denying that there's a creator, then they can't even use the word creation. So no matter what you think, you have to acknowledge that there's a source. Nothing can stand without it. Okay? So in the Big Bang Theory, a bright and hot event. Now, I go into this in more detail, so I'm going to be kind of flipping back and forth. So this bright, hot event, okay, is described in Big Bang Theory I'm trying to go to the beginning of that part because I have gone through in sections. Okay, there we go. The only information that the scientists have is that short description above, that it was a bright and hot event. However, I'm not satisfied with this. Me personally. What bright and hot event? What caused it to be bright? What caused it to heat up and cool down? We all understand, okay, that, scientific explanations of the mantles within the earth. Each layer is a mantle. Okay, it covers a layer underneath it. And it was created by heating and cooling process, each level. So there has to be intentional heating and intentional cooling. Okay, and it happened in such a way that it caused the foundations of the earth that we have right now. Okay, so they have the different mantles listed. Look it up. Okay, look it up. Big Bang Theory. What are the mantles of the earth, layers of the earth and stuff. You can find that out. Okay. So let's go back a little bit. I'm gonna keep my thumb there. Okay, so after its initial expansion, an event that is by itself often called the Big Bang Theory, the universe is cooled sufficiently to allow formation of subatomic particles and later atoms. Giant clouds of these primordial elements, mostly hydrogen with some helium and lithium, later coalesced through gravity, forming the early stars and galaxies, and the descendants of which are visible today. Besides these primordial building materials, astronomers observe that the gravitational effects of an unknown dark matter that are surrounding galaxies. So the galaxies in the universe, okay, they have an unknown dark matter surrounding it. Okay, that is something that is withholding the structure of the universe that we can see. Okay, we are limited by what we can study in the universe because of our lack in inability to obtain more knowledge than what the Lord God allows us to get our source. Okay, that's our source. You can call it whatever you want it, but that's our source. So this knowledgeable, okay, remember we were using omniscient? Let me go back to that. So this omniscient thing, okay, told it when to cool, how fast, how slow, how long it takes to heat up, how long it takes to be cool, and then laid down each and every portion of the layers of the earth that we have today to create the mantle in with which we live. Okay, all the way up to the firmament. Okay, the firmament, that invisible shield, okay, that they have, that they know that is out there. Okay, there's an invisible shield separating our livable, breathable air away from what is in outer space, because outer space is like a vacuum. So if we didn't have the mantle that we have around us, the firmament, then which is described also in the Bible, is Genesis 1. You can read the whole thing. It describes the entire creation. But so we're trying to explain this scientifically. If we did not have that cover, we would be vacuumed out to outer space. We would die. Okay, we would not be able to sustain ourselves. So most of the gravitational potential in the universe seems to be in this form of that dark matter that's surrounding. Okay, so it's causing a pull, you know, and it is creating, or it has the ability to hold us, to uphold the galaxies and the stars and the planets that are out there, to give us the balance that we have. And it keeps us from going downward in the universe or upward. You know, we are in one straight flow. Yes, they have observed that we are getting larger and larger, but it is still a straight flow, a steady flow. Okay? Not the steady state theory, because steady state theory does not believe that the universe is expanding. The universe actually has been proven to be expanding and moving in a spiral state. Okay? So it's been proven. Now, the Big Bang Theory has, and its various observations indicate that this excess gravitational potential is not created by baryonic matter, which as such is normal atoms. Excuse me. Which is such as normal atoms. And the measurements in the redshifts and supernova indicate that the expansion of the universe is accelerating. That's what I just was explaining, that the expansion is accelerating. Hi, I'm back. Sorry. I had to stop for a minute. Anyways, measurements of the redshifts of supernova indicate that expansion of the universe is accelerating, and observation is attributed to dark energy's existence. So they notice that dark energy is out there and there's dark matter. They can sense it, but they can't see it or observe it. They don't have any way to contain it. And so that way they can't get measurements. They can't get the typical measurements that they have. You know, how does this apply biblically? Okay, when the beginning became to be, it had to become something first. In order for it to become something, it had to be in the form of something, so it had a structure. Okay, intelligence, impartation of knowledge, telling it how to become, what to become. John 1:5. Okay, let's look. I gotta find my Bible. I'm gonna look at John 1:5. My Bible is in my other car. Alright, I have to resort to my phone Bible. Okay, so the scripture I wrote down is John 1:5. So we're going to read what that says. Oh, 1 through 5. In the beginning was the Word, okay? The Word. What do you do when you want to tell somebody your thoughts, feelings, expressions, emotions? What do you do when you want to explain to yourself? When you want to defend yourself? When you express yourself about everything? Guess what? It's through the Word, okay? This omniscient thing, the Word from this omniscient thing, okay, is so powerful that it caused things to become. What did I say? The key ingredients for something to begin, okay, was intelligence. There had to be an initial intelligence, smart enough to instruct, okay? Secondly, it had to have the power, okay, omnipotent. It had to have the power to impart its knowledge through the word that it spoke to cause something to become. It initiated the becoming, okay? Then it caused it to become. It's those 4 steps, right? So right here, John 1 through 5. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. All things were made through him, and apart from him, nothing was made that has come into being. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. Okay? Now, light, one of the definitions of light is to be enlightened, to be made knowledgeable. Okay? To be given knowledge. What do we have? What do we say when we understand something? When we come into understanding of anything, we've been enlightened, right? It makes us smarter. That means we've been made smarter. So, first, it was the light of men. So it wasn't even the sun that was created first. It was the enlightenment. The knowledge of each of these particles and the ingredients of the planet of what to become. Now they were formed by that word, but it doesn't mean that it obtained the knowledge in order for it to create something else. Okay? The substance of the earth does not have the ability to absorb knowledge. It only has the ability to be commanded, because it is just a thing. So it only has the ability to be commanded and then become. That's it. That's the extent of the planet and the materials of the earth and everything on the earth. That's the extent of its ability. Okay? Now, the thing to which the things have life. Okay? To the things which can contain life, that's a separate thing from God. That's a separate gift from God. Is the ability for it to have life. Okay? So the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overpowered it. The darkness is the lack of knowledge. Okay? For somebody to be in the dark, you ever heard that expression? Don't tell them, keep them in the dark. Or you've always been kept in the dark. There's a reason. It's a symbolism, okay, that scientists can't explain why we sleep. Here's the explanation. Okay, it's a symbolism of the processes that we go through with God. In the darkness, when we do not know, we are meant to rest in Him. That is literally exactly what we do. And it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. You literally go to sleep at night for however long you do it, be it 5 minutes, be it 5 hours, 50 hours, whatever it means for you. Okay, I don't know why I said it like that, but whatever. The point is, whatever it is for you to sleep, you are resting in the darkness. Okay, when you go to sleep, do you see the light outside? Do you see the sunlight? Do you see the lights on in your room? Some people can. Some people are sensitive to that, and their eyes react to that, so it wakes up. But most of the people, no. The answer is no. You know why? Because you were designed to rest when you do not know. You were designed to be at rest in God, in the power of God, when you do not know. Okay? We do not know. We think we know that we're going to rise the next morning, but we don't. It is biblical. Tomorrow is not promised. We are never guaranteed a tomorrow. Never. So what happens? We are in the darkness as far as whether we're going to even wake up the next day. We are. We do not know. That's why in the Bible, the day actually begins at night. When our days begin at midnight and end at 11:59 p.m. Okay? But biblically, when the sun sets and goes down, when the sun is gone to where we can't see it and it's pitch black outside, guess what? That is the beginning of the following day. Because the day has literally ended. And you have begun the day in darkness. You've begun the following day in darkness. Because you do not know what is coming next. That's how the day and time frames is supposed to go. Night first and then daylight. Darkness first and then daylight. It's biblical. Look at all through Genesis. There was evening and then morning and then there was the next day. And that was the next day. It's literally written like that. You don't believe me? Go back to Genesis. Okay. The true light coming into the world gives light to every man. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, but the world did not know him. He came to his own, but his own did not receive him. But whoever did receive him, those trusting in his name, to these he gave them the right to become children of God. They were born not of a bloodline, nor of human desire, nor of man's will, but of God. And the Word became flesh and tabernacled among us. I could go on with that right now with this. Because that is the entirety of creation. Okay? What did we talk about in my tidbit videos? The tidbit videos, if you haven't seen my Instagram page, follow my Instagram page, Revelations of God. I shared on that heaven. Okay? The origination of the word heaven. Let's go back. I got the notes right here. I got my little tablet things right here. Let's go back. Shall we? When we go back, okay, we look at the word heaven. Okay, and now the first time that I read this and I got that and it seeped in, I was like, oh my God. People think there was creation first. Creation was not first. Creation was not first. Let me tell you why right now. Okay? Yeah. Let me tell you why right now. I'm going to use this card first. Okay? Right? Omniscient created the heavens and the earth. The heavens is underlined because that's all that's on the back of this card. Okay? Created is to bring something into existence, to form out of nothing. To form out of nothing. Okay? So anytime somebody uses the word, if you don't believe in God, you have no right to use the word creation. Because then you're indicating there's a powerful source enough, powerful enough to create everything around you. So you're not allowed to use that word. If you use that word, you're subliminally admitting to a creator. Okay, heavens, right? Remember that I went through the whole origin of the word heavens. Oxford English Dictionary. Look through that. It's quite amazing. Okay, so the one that hit me the most, okay, there's actually a couple of them. First of all, Middle Eastern, heaven, okay, means to raise, upright, to a higher position, to lift up, to hoist, okay, also means crucify. Heaven The word means crucify or mount. To crucify or to mount. Okay, first of all, Christ was crucified. God created the crucifixion first before he created the world. Before he created everything that we live in. He created the crucifixion. And he caused that as a means for our souls to be lifted. Where? To him. Where he abides. In heaven. Okay? That's it. I wanted to show you guys that for a second. Again. That was such an incredibly powerful time when I first read that. And it just sunk right into me. Because that's not what's preached. The fact that he created the crucifixion first is not what's preached. People don't talk about that. People don't realize how much control God has. How much he is in charge of everything. Everything. He is. Okay, so back to this. That was John, 1 John, Genesis. In the beginning, the. I can also use the word the to describe him. He is the. The what? Everything that you could possibly think of is who the is. He is the sun, the moon, the stars. He is the Spirit, the great knowledgeable Spirit that imparted his power and his knowledge to the rest of everything, to all the ingredients that created the world, and told it, instructed it what to become, formed it with the breath of his lips. So, also, Isaiah 66, 1 through 2. Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye build unto me? And where is the place of my rest? For all those things hath mine hand had made, and all those things have been, saith the Lord. Okay? Look at the word creatio ex nihilo. To create something out of nothing. Okay? Pastor Leslie Hale taught us about that. It's in his Words We Use. Creatio ex nihilo. Look it up. So, all of this indicates a basis of limitation in a form with which a structure of the entirety of space even began. So something can only be formed, okay? Anything that has any kind of formation whatsoever, whether it's a fine-tuned formation or whether it's a scattered formation, it doesn't make a difference, because a form can only be formed. Structure can only be structured. Okay, anything that has a limitation can only be limited by an outside source. All of this can only happen by an outside source. To even say that something has a structure or has a form silently indicates an outside structure. So right there again, it goes back to the fact that there is an outside powerful structure that has the knowledge to instruct the formation and limitations and boundaries, and to define every structure. Okay? So, again, we're going back to Genesis. Right? In the beginning, omniscient. Why are we using the word omniscient again? We're using omniscient because it means all-knowing. That's where we get the word science from. Scient. Science. So for something to know enough to instruct things to become, I would have to say that thing is all-knowing, right? So we're going to insert that. In the beginning, omniscient created the heavens and the earth. Isaiah 45, 5 through 8. I am the Lord, and there is no other. There is no God besides me. I will gird you, though you have not known me. He already has. That's where the dark matter is coming from. That's where the dark matter is, and the what do they call it? It was dark matter and then something else. Or dark energy. That's the word I was looking for. Dark matter and dark energy. So Isaiah 45, 5 through 8 continued, that they may know that from the rising of the sun to its setting, that there is no one besides me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace, and I create calamity. This is some things I think people have hard to understand. He created all things. All things. Even Satan himself came from God and turned away from God because he esteemed himself more glorious. He esteemed himself something. And so he turned away from God. I'm going to read that whole portion again, okay? That they may know from the rising of the sun to its setting that there is no one besides me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create calamity. I, the Lord, do all these things. Rain down, you heavens, from above, and let the skies pour down righteousness. Let the earth open, and let them bring forth salvation. Let the righteous spring up together. I, the Lord, created it. He is the creator. He is the source. You cannot have a Big Bang Theory without there being a source. Yes, the Big Bang Theory makes sense. Except when you take out the source, the founding subject, the founding power, the founding intelligence. You can't. The theory, Big Bang Theory, has no stance without a source. And that's the only thing they have not included, is the fact there was a source behind the initiation of creation. How can such temperature and cooling, heating and cooling, be controlled? How long would it heat? How little would it heat? How would it turn from hot to cold, from cold to hot and back again for each layer of the earth that there is? Because of the source. Okay? Isaiah 40, 12 through 15. He has measured the waters in the palm of his hand. Who has measured the waters in the palm of his hand, or the hill, or measured the heaven in a span, calculated the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed its mountains in scales, or the hills in a balance? Who can fathom the Ruach Adonai, which is God, our holy God, or instruct him as his counselor? With whom did he consult, and who instructed him? Who taught him in the path of justice, or who taught him knowledge? Who gave him knowledge? If something gave him knowledge, then he is not the God, whatever that thing that gave him knowledge is. Who informed him about the way of understanding? Behold, the nations are like a drop of a bucket in the count as a speck of dust on the scales. Behold, the islands weigh as fine dust. Okay, in the beginning it began in the omniscience. In the beginning, began in the omniscience. Sorry about my dog losing his mind. I hope that you guys can hear me. So it began in the omniscience. The beginning began in the heavens, and the earth was structured within this omniscience. Okay, everything was structured within this. Okay, so this was all structured by that omniscient, came from, came out of, came into existence by omniscience, thus time began. Isaiah 40:12. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand? That's what that is. Measured heaven with a span and calculated the dust of the earth in a measure. Weighed the mountains in scales and the hills in a balance. Okay? You guys can have a little bit more study on this if you look up Leslie Hale Teaching Center. Actually, I'm going to show you the notes on that. I have like a million of their notes. But for this one in particular, this is where you get this. Okay? You write down this information, the phone number. Call them, ask them for this one.